Negotiations are on again, off again, and then on again. The United States attack on Iran has taken many different turns. And I suspect there's a lot happening behind the scenes that a lot of us don't know anything about. And with us now to iron out some of the details is Mohamad Faridi, who is president of Iranian Christians International, here on Tammy's Take, the crossroads of politics and power. This is my take. Take it or leave it. I hope you'll take it to heart. So, Mohamad, let's jump right into this. I'd like to know what your thoughts were immediately when you heard that President Trump was attacking Iran.
Well, Tammy, thanks for having me first. And of course, uh, uh, from the outside, when you look, it was an attack, it was another war. But for the Iranian people, this was absolutely a liberation mission, a rescue mission. Iranian people have been attacked by the Islamic regime, which is occupying Iran for the past 47 years. So it's not like we weren't at war. We are. The Iranian people, the residents, the citizens of Iran, they have been at war with this regime, which forcefully and deceitfully has taken over our nation in 1979. The Islamic regime of Iran is not a government from within Iran. It's not the government for the Iranian people. They deceived the Iranian people, and with the help of the left in France, the left in England, and Jimmy Carter, they occupied our nation. They kicked out the king, the monarch, which was for the Iranian people. They kicked him out, and they took over our nation. We have been held hostages, the Iranian people speaking. They have been held hostages for the past 47 years. And numerous times, the Iranian people have risen and fought against this wicked regime that is in charge of Iran, known as the Islamic Regime of Iran. We have tried to push back and try to get some rights and something back from him, but the answers has been always bullets, torture, persecution, prosecution, and enjailment. And then here in January of 2026, we had another economic collapse, another shamble. Iranian came to the streets demanding some reform or something happens with the government. But unfortunately, again, thousands of Iranians, upward of 40,000 Iranians have been massacred. Iranians, they're not armed by this Islamic regime who is occupying Iran and they're vicious. So we went out and begged the foreign government, including President Trump and America, to attack and help us rescue. And we look at this attack, we look at this situation as a rescue mission. And on behalf of all the Iranian people that have a brain and are not puppets of this regime, thank you, President Trump, for coming to our rescue.
Wow, wow. I wanted to talk about the allies. Where are the allies? We seem to hear President Trump in the news talking quite a bit about they haven't been there for us. We're a part of NATO. We've put in, trillions of dollars. And when it comes time for the United States to use their bases in this attack, and I haven't been calling it a war. I know everybody calls it a war, and I know you just called it a war, but technically, Congress has not, from what I understand, has not given actual approval, which is their job, to make this a war. I haven't heard that yet. Maybe it's happened, I don't know. But so I've been calling it an attack on Iran. But where are the United States allies in all of this? And how do you feel about many of their lack of support?
Absolutely. So, Tammy, I'm going to correct, hopefully push back a little and correct the statement of attack on Iran. This is not attack on Iran. It's an attack on a terrorist organization which occupies Iran.
Understood.
Iranian people love the Jews, love their neighbors. They're hospitable people with a great civilization, 2,500 years. We have King Cyrus, King Darius. We had a great relationship with Israel and Jews. We have great relationship with America. This hateful regime, the Islamic regime, which occupies, it's an attack on them. There has
Mm.
no civilian attack or Iranian attack. The attack has been on the IRGC terrorist and the Ayatollah, which is a terrorist. Number one, this government, this Iranian Islamic Republic, the Iranian government, has been the number one financier of terrorism and proxies and attack squads around the world. These people have been occupying Iran, exploiting our resources, the nation's resources of petroleum, natural gas, and other minerals and everything else, and have financed terrorism around the world, propaganda around the world. So this is not an attack on Iran, it's an attack on the Islamic regime of Iran, and thank God for it.
Okay,
The
okay. Thank
Islamic
God for
regime
it.
of
You just said, wow,
Yep,
wow. That's
the
a big
Islamic
deal.
regime of Iran is the common enemy between the Iranian people and anything good. They produce
Mm.
evil because everything is rooted in the Shia Islam and the hatred for the Jews and Christians. That's
Well,
who
and
they are.
I wanted to ask you about you said a lot there that we could, go on with, but you said that the Iranian people love Jews and Christians.
Yep.
So is the majority of Iran, of the population of Iran, Christian then, or is it Islamic? And if it's Islamic right now, which my understanding is a lot of people would have been forced to convert to Islam
We
because,
were. We were forced to
okay.
convert to Islam. We were forced to follow the Sharia, this backward law, Islamic law, which has come from some Bedouin 7th century tribal mentality. We are
Mm,
forced to do it because the people in charge are Islamists. They all, if you trace the Ayatollahs who run the cleric who runs Iran, if you trace their backgrounds, they're all from Lebanon or Iraq or some un-Iranian, un-Persian people that they hate our culture, the Persian culture. The Iranian people, I'm going to repeat this once again. The Persian people who now have been forced to follow Islam, we have a history, we have a civilization that goes way back before Islam even existed. But then comes Islam and takes over our country, pushes our Iranian people to change their name, change their identity, change and their anthem, change their flags, and everything about us now, it's forced down our throat to follow the Sharia, this backward 7th century Arabic Bedouin tribal mentality of I call it the cult of death, that we have to die for Allah, we have to seek Allah, we have to do this for Allah, Allah, everything Allah, and we don't know
mhm.
who Allah is. Nobody
Oh,
can
wow.
figure it out, and if you question it, then you're in an odds with this vicious Islamic regime. But the
Mhm.
Persian people have an identity which is in total opposite with the Islamic identity. Therefore, we have been occupied. We're in this clash with this regime constantly, but we're unarmed. We're the Iranian people. They're defenseless. These people have the arms, have the power, have the propaganda, have the weapons, and every time we try to push them back or get rid of them, we can't because they kill us.
Wow.
In January, they proven to us up for 40,000 people were killed, 10,000 people blinded, over 300,000 people injured for their lives. I can talk about how wicked these people are, these Islamists are. And but how could we get rid of them? We're hostages. I want you to remember these two identities: the Persian identity and the Islamic identity are are at odds with one another, but
Okay.
one has power, the other one doesn't. And then
Okay.
here we beg President Trump and the Western world, especially Israel, to come and help because they have the means, they have the jets and the, of course, the intelligence to come and help us. And thank God they did. Hear me now. The hatred for the Jews that is fueled by the Islamic regime, it has Islamic roots. It doesn't have a Persian roots. The Persian people, King Cyrus, if you talk about Artaxerxes, if you talk about Haman, Mordecai, all of that, we could go to much details about that, that the Persian people never had hatred toward the Jews. Jews lived inside Iran. Jews, the King Cyrus, King Darius, King Artaxerxes, these are the people that financed the Western Wall and sent the Jews back, liberated the Jews. And all of these things have been a long history between the Jewish people and the Persian people. In 1978, before the occupation of Iran in 1979, in 1978, El Al, the Israeli airline, flew 18 round-trip flights directly from Tel Aviv to Tehran. We had no problem. Israel had an embassy. Iranian had an embassy in Israel. We had no problem. This hatred for the Jews comes with Islam, because this eschatology of Islam is one thing. Until we do not fight the Jews and we do not kill them, their end will not come. This is the
Right.
hadiths in all of the traditions of Islam, and this
Right.
hatred comes with Islam.
So, but there is no denying, Mohammed, that that the Islamic regime toppled Iran, and they have been in charge and in control of Iran for many years now.
47 years.
And with that conquest comes the hatred of the great Satan, the
Yeah,
United States,
America
the
and
smaller
Israel,
Satan.
that's his
The
colonizers, this Islamist
I
colonizers. They
understand.
colonized their country, and now everybody that thinks about Iran, they think that the Iranian people are no,
I
it's
understand.
our colonizer.
Yeah,
The
and
Islamic
and
regime
I
of
think
Iran, they have took over our nation,
yeah,
used our resources to funnel hatred toward Jews and Christians, and now by the grace of God, they're being rescued. The
yes,
hostage is being rescued, and we're so thankful
yes.
for that.
Yes, and so I think that that's totally established now, and we'll continue the interview with that understanding. At the
Hopefully.
same time, the IRGC and the subsequent Ayatollahs after Khamenei's death, after President. The President Trump has attacked them and killed them all, bombed them. They're not going gently into that good night. They are putting up quite a fight. There are a lot of people that are worried that we might end up in like a quagmire like we did with Iraq and Afghanistan and all of that. How do so some people think that President Trump might be kind of naive to step into a fight between an Islamic regime, which I know, the Iranians don't consider themselves that, the Iranian people. It's the IRGC and the Ayatollahs and all of that. But these folks are willing to die and be martyred for what they believe in. So, how do you negotiate with, and is it naive of President Trump to think that he can actually negotiate peace with people whose mission is to die and be martyred for Allah and 72 virgins?
Yeah, I don't think President Trump is naive. This team that is making decisions and doing all the negotiations, I think that's because of the demand. There is a demand that we need to negotiate with these people and all of this. And then I think President Trump, to prove to the world that these are unnegotiable people, is doing it for the sake of the critics or for the sake of the naive. I don't think they're President Trump or administration or the people that are there are naive. They exactly understand who they are dealing with. They exactly understand who this regime is, their ideology is. When you listen to the Secretary of War, when you listen to Marco Rubio, Pete Hegseth, and all the people that are in charge in this administration, they exactly know who they are dealing with. But then we have the naive left, we have the leftists and the utopian idealists that they think, okay, if we just do this and do that, it's going to be kumbaya. Now, since they have been weakened and bombed, now they're going to come to the negotiation table. I'll give you an example for you to understand how this naivety is explainable. When you say I'm going to negotiate with Satan to be less satanic,
Hmm.
means your brain has some fractures or there's damage in it.
And
Satan
so
is going
that's
to
how
do
you
what
think
Satan
of
does.
that regime. That
Yes,
regime is satanic,
very
in
much.
your opinion.
And the only thing they understand, the only thing they beg is death, and you need to give it to them. That's the
Yeah.
bottom line of it. And the only thing that will resolve and remove them is death. They be happy. They're gonna be happy. They're gonna be dancing and shouting and celebrating when they die, because they believe they're gonna get their 72 virgins. They're gonna accomplish what Allah has predestined them to do. So give it to them.
Will they
Free the
ever
world.
will they ever negotiate, in your opinion? I
They
mean,
don't.
they just
Negotiation, it means
straggle on
nothing
and
to them.
on. What?
Negotiation means buying time. Negotiation means deception. In Islamic terminology, negotiation is taqiyya, and
Mhm.
taqiyya means deception, to conceal, to buy time, to push back again, and it's get us stronger, to revenge in a worse
So,
matter. That's
so
what they
what's your
understand.
solution? Just bomb them all, get rid of all of
Yep.
the
Empower
regime?
the Iranian people. Now you have weakened the IRGC. You have killed the clerics. Now empower the Iranian people to rise up and take back their country.
Okay, so this leads me to Reza Pahlavi. I'm really puzzled about what's happening here with him because it sounds to me in all the information that I've been getting, and I've gotten a lot of information straight from the ground from people there who know exactly what's going on. It's that the people want Reza Pahlavi,
The
but
prince.
I do not hear President Trump backing him in any way. I don't hear the Trump administration talking about putting Pahlavi in power. And in fact, I talked with someone very recently who's close to the administration who said that Pahlavi himself doesn't necessarily want to be put in power. He wants to just handle the transition of power. What do
Again
you
and
think about
again,
that?
the team that is doing all of this, this administration, are a bunch of genius. I tell you why. Because if they push this prince back to Iran, then they say, okay, America is doing the regime change is disaster, blah 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 blah. And because they don't want this to happen, they have kept him um, under total how do you say this? It is kind of going in with lights off. Kind of secretly is going in, and then they have not negotiated openly. I have heard many times that there has been many secret meetings between Trump and Trump administration and the Prince of Iran, Reza Pahlavi, and but why is it not open? Because we don't want to go through the same situation again, that, well, America has put this in, and as a result he has to be an American puppet, or he is the Prince of Iran is, because he was put in by the Americans, now he's going to favor America. Because they don't want to deal with that, therefore they have been going in with lights off. But uh, the prince has the support of the Iranian people, and if you heard President Trump said, we would support what the Iranian people want, and that's what they said.
Mm.
It's very clear. The Iranian people want the prince to go back, and the administration is going to back him up when the time is right. They have
But
many times mentioned that, well, it's not time for the Iranian people to come out because it's dangerous. When the
okay.
time is going to come, he's going to come out, and he's going to be the person who is going to be transitioning the government, or transitioning the next phase of the change inside Iran. But the Iranian people want him to be the transition, and one
Okay.
referendum is going to prove it to the whole world.
But can he handle it? He has been exiled. He's been in the US, got his education here. He's grown up here. I mean, running a country is going to be very different, and especially that kind of country where I'm assuming it's not going to be easy, even once the
Well, if you
IRGC.
look at if you look at him as a one person in charge, I think you're mistaken. He has a phenomenal team around him. We're talking excellent politicians, excellent statesmen, as excellent university professors, Iranians who have lived while once they were part of the government inside Iran, as a result of the occupation, they have been kicked out, and now they have been part of his team, and they're gonna be all helping in that transition. And we have so many smart Iranians who live in the Western world and inside Iran, who is going to help with the transition to have the government. They have a very extensive and comprehensive plans in place already, that in the next 2 years they will transition Iran from this hellhole of Islamic terrorism to a nation that is very, very supportive of Israel, and it's going to be a real ally of America in Middle East, and eventually a very pro-Western, pro-American country.
Okay, I want to come back to to the conflict and all of that. But first, let's talk about you. And you have family in Iran still, from what I understand.
Yeah, all of my
And
family actually is in Iran.
okay, how are they? How's it going? And how did you, as an Iranian, come to faith in Jesus Christ as a Christian from Islam that you were taught in the beginning?
Sure. First, about how's my family doing? I haven't heard from him for the past 50 days now, since
Wow.
this occupation, this Islamic occupation, have blacked out the internet. The communication have been nothing. Internet has been completely cut out. So, other than one time, February 28th, when the war started, my brother texted me and said, "Hey, it is starting. It is happening." And then one more time, he said that they have left the city and they're safe for now. Other than that, I haven't
The
heard
city,
anything from him.
the city being Tehran.
Yes.
Okay.
And then that's my family. But well, um, it's my story is quite out there, and people can actually read my book called "Forsaking My Father's Religion." I would like to see this picture. That's me when I was 19 years old in the
Wow.
IRGC of Iran.
Wow,
Um,
you were part of that
yes,
regime.
yes, I was.
Wow.
I was trained by this regime to die for the sake of Allah and to be the sacrifice. And that's me when I was 19 years old. My book is called "Forsaking My Father's Religion." It's available on our website, iranchristians.org, for free. You can request one, and I will be glad to send you one. But to make a long story short, I was willing to die for Islam. I was willing to die for Allah, to be the sacrifice, to have eternal life. And then I heard that Jesus has died for my sins. He is the sacrifice. The debt I was trying to pay was already settled. And when I heard the good news of the gospel, I accepted Christ right after my military service. And nothing has been the same. And God's been faithful throughout my life. I have been
And
22 years a Muslim.
I'm sorry to interrupt, but I think it's important for people to hear how you heard that message of Jesus
Yeah,
Christ.
my friend shared it with me. And he just, he was bold enough, loving enough to intercept and tell me about Christ, putting his life in danger inside Iran, knowing I was in the Revolutionary Guard, knowing all of this. But he loved me enough to share the truth. He dared to offend me. And
Mm.
I'm grateful forever to that. He shared the gospel. My life has been never the same. And accepted Jesus, my Lord and Savior. 3 years inside Iran, I lived as an underground church member, as an underground believer. I was part of the underground church, the church that is exploding. Absolutely, Iranian people by masses are abandoning this occultic of death known as Islam, leaving it and accepting Christ as their Lord and Savior. And the church in Iran is growing tremendously. Hundreds of thousands, millions of Iranians have become believers in Christ Jesus. And when this regime will fall in shame on its face, then the Iranian underground church is going to come underground, and Iran was going to play a great, great uh, end time harvest. The Iran, and as a nation, the nation of Iran is going to play a major role in the last harvest that is going to happen in our lifetime. I believe that.
your organization has had a lot to do with the growth of the church in Iran. Can you talk about that?
Yep, our ministry has been established since 1981, 2 years after the revolution. The founder of our ministry was saved here in the U.S. and then married an American. They went back to Iran as missionaries, but then the revolution happened. The Islamic occupation happened. Um, this terrorist came and took over our nation and hijacked it, and then all the missionaries and mission organizations they were kicked out of Iran, and he came back to the U.S. and then established Iranian Christians International. And at that time, the numbers were small, and we had one Bible translation, and there was not much of mission organization that pay attention to Iran because they looked at it as a very rocky ground with hostile toward the gospel and the people that had nothing to do with Christianity or church. But lo and behold, the founder of our ministry started translating Christian literature to Farsi and distributing them among the Persians in Iran and in diaspora. By 2006, they surpassed over 1 million tracks. Now only God knows. We surpassed that by probably another million, 2 million since. But
It's
then
amazing.
he helped with the translation of a type of an NIV concept in Farsi, modernized Farsi translation. And then um, we have done international conferences for Iranian believers. Many of the Iranian Christians who are running Christian organizations in the West or other places, pastors, ministry organization, they came to one of our conferences. They heard the call of God for their lives, and they started something, and now they're ministering and doing great things. And then the other thing we have a team in Turkey, we have a team in Armenia, and we have a team inside Iran, a print shop, underground print shop inside Iran, and we're printing tracts, books, Bibles inside Iran and in the and neighboring countries of Iran, and then pumping it out into the hand of the Muslims, and they're hearing the gospel and accepting Christ. So that's some of the things we
Amazing.
do. If you want to know more about what we're doing, you can go to our website, iranchristians.org.
Amazing, amazing. All right, let's get back into, well, I'd like to kind of segue from that. How are the Christians inside of Iran fighting? How are they protesting? What are they doing to help facilitate the toppling of the regime?
Well, if you're Christian, non-Christian, it doesn't matter. The Iranian they want freedom. Freedom is such a precious thing, and if you're a Christian who have been persecuted and you fear for your life every day, you will understand it even more. So they have been praying and going on the streets, and many of them have given their lives. Many of them are in prison as a result. But the regime is vicious. They have weapons and they run, and people don't. And the fight is a very um, unsafe and also unbalanced, unfortunately, at this time. But by the grace of God, when this regime falls, the Iranian underground church is going to go underground, and the best is yet to come for the Iranian people.
The underground church will come out from underground, right?
Yep.
Is that what you're saying? Okay.
Yep.
All right. Let's talk about the Strait of Hormuz. This is the big battlefield right now, it seems to be. And President Trump talked about a blockade, and then the Iranian regime said, "Well, we're setting up a blockade." And then President Trump said, "We have a blockade of the blockade."
Mhm.
So I don't understand what the Strait of Hormuz is. Maybe you can help all of us understand
Sure.
why the Strait of Hormuz is so important in all of this, and what ultimately, who does it impact the most?
Absolutely. So the Strait of Hormuz is a narrow water pathway from the Arabian Sea to the Persian Gulf, and the IRGC is the pirates, the Barbary pirates of our time. Is the IRGC's navy, who sits there and collects money while the ship's going through, and 20% of the oil production and other things passes through the Strait of Hormuz. But you have to remember that it provides cheap oil for the Chinese economic engine. That's what really is. And many of the nations that are buying, such as Japan, such as India, because of all the Iranian sanctions, they're actually exploiting the oil and natural gas that Iran has through the other means, and they're taking it through the Strait of Hormuz. So European nations, they get their stuff from Russia, and the NATO nations, they get it from Russia and also from the Strait of Hormuz, from Saudi Arabia, Qatar, Emirates, and Iran itself. But America practically gets nothing. They don't need anything. And then we have all the natural gas, the petroleum and natural gas that we need here in the state of Texas. Of course, now with Venezuela, the balance has changed. And Iran, the IRGC of Iran, who is sitting in that strait, is the pirates who collect money and forcefully threatening and bullying every ship that goes through to get their share. And then also remember everything that China has to provide for the Iranian people in missiles, in intelligence, in the air defense and anti drone, and all of that is produced in China goes through the Strait of Hormuz to Iran. So the blockade is again another piece of excellency by the Americans in regard to understanding. And if you want to weaken the IRGC and weaken the Iranian military, you have to stop that ships going through the Strait of Hormuz and providing these weapons and the ballistic fuels and all of that. And then the blockade has done a great job. The economics of Iran is already damaged. I'll give you an example. I want you to see how Islam and Islamic economic, what brings to a nation. In 1979, prior to this revolution, this occupation, $1 was 7 Iranian currency, 1 to 7. Now it is 1 to 163,000. $1 to
Wow.
163,000. The Iranian people have gotten nothing in this regime ruling in Iran, and then a nation that is so wealthy, sitting on all of these resources, now because of China's relationship and Russian relationship, the Iranian people have been weakened, the Islamic regime have been strengthened, and now by this blockade, the American blockade, they cannot repurchase and provide for their military and for their ballistic fuels and for their air defense and all of that. And they're being weakened and weakened every day. And this is another piece of excellence in behalf of the American decisions in regard to what's happening there.
So at the beginning of this interview, I said that there's probably a lot happening behind the scenes that most of us have no idea about. And what you mentioned about China being deeply impacted here, I think is one thing. There's something else that I've been thinking about for a long time, and that is I remember in President Trump's first term, John Kerry, who, as you know, was no longer Secretary of State during President Trump's first term, went to Iran. And he was doing something. If he was conducting business, that was illegal. If he was acting on behalf of the United States, that was illegal.
Mhm.
And then before that, we know that many people, including, I believe, President Obama, saying that Iran should never have a nuclear weapon.
Yeah.
And yet he sends 1.7 billion in
In
cash
cash, yeah.
to Iran.
American dollars,
What
all
did
taxes.
he and the left and all of those in power at the time think Iran was going to do with that cash. So I'm just wondering, to me and to so many others, that is all part of the deep state. And I'm thinking that the deep state is still alive and well and acting and going, doing everything they can to go against the Trump administration, because he has made no bones about, enacting justice for those deep state actors. And many people include Obama in that, include Hillary Clinton in that, include, John Kerry and Brennan and Clapper and all of those folks
Mhm.
who may be still acting against the United States right now with Donald Trump
Absolutely.
in power.
The left installed this Islamic regime. The left cannot survive with the Islamists. This is a proven pattern. I have a teaching actually called the Unholy Alliance. The Marxists, the left, and then the Islamists. They have found
That's
one
so
another.
strange.
Yeah,
Strange bedfellows.
they have found one another, and they're helping one another to gain power, and they fight against Christianity, they fight against capitalism, it's the revolutionary ideas are exactly the same. The left in France, Macron, cannot exist without the Moroccan, Algerian, Sudanese, Somalis. The left, Keir Starmer, cannot exist without Pakistani terrorist Muslims. The
Wow.
I can go down the Germany. I can go down that path one after another. The left
Which would
needs
be why they cannot
denounce it.
support, right?
Yes,
Yeah,
they
they
cannot
can't
denounce the
support President
Islamic
Trump
regime
in this.
because they're part of it. They're installing it.
Uh,
They are
wow.
they are the ones that giving it milk. Obama sending 1.7 billion dollars to Iran on in our Pentagon flights. It was sending rescue for the Islamic regime, denying the Iranian people, rejecting the Iranian people's freedom.
Mm.
That's who this is who they are. They are the deepest state. There is not another layer in back there. It's the left, which is evil, and then the right and the conservative and the capitalists that they are fighting against the deepest state, which is the left Marxists. The people like Ilhan Omar. You think Ilhan Omar can have run anything in Somali as a
Mm.
woman? No, he
No.
has to come to America, trash Americans and America, and then the left gives him power to be in the Congress. And then
And to enact all that fraud. I mean, we
absolutely.
know that it's not just random Somalis in
Oh,
Minnesota who
no,
are,
they're
taking in millions
frauding
and millions and billions,
billions of dollars in
billions.
fraud, proven billions of dollars in fraud under the Democrat governor, the
And
Democrat AG, the Democrat Senate. How else could this go on? Because they work together. This is an unholy alliance because they hate America, they hate Christianity, they hate capitalism. Both of them, the Islamists and the Marxists, they both hate. Their common enemy is us. And then
yeah,
why would the left denounce the Islamic regime of Iran, the very people they have put in charge 47 years ago, and they're part of how they exist and how they cooperate, and how that's as a result of what we talk about, the 1.7 billion dollars sent to Iran was to rescue the very people that they put in charge. So that's the situation.
how concerned were you when President Trump said, this is so sad. We're getting ready to wipe out an entire civilization. That scared a lot of people at the
Mhm.
time. What were your thoughts on that?
I would say take Trump serious, but don't take him literally. The way
Mm.
he talks is not the way you could understand and say I'm gonna understand what he says and break the code and all of that, because he's dealing with a lot of things, with a lot of different thoughts, especially with the Islamic regime itself. So you cannot take him literally as he says it is going to happen, but you have to take him seriously.
So ultimately, what would you like to see happening here? I think you've kind of, mentioned some of these throughout the interview, but to wrap it up with a nice little ribbon, what is your ultimate desired outcome?
My ultimate desire for the Iran and the Iranian people is freedom, the removal of this terrorist organization, terrorist regime that is occupying Iran. It is going to benefit the Iranian people, but the impact of it, the effect of it, will go far greater than that. We're talking it's going to benefit the neighboring and allies in Middle East, Israel and America in a great way.
Thank you so much for taking time to talk with me about all of this, Mohamad. And are you an American citizen now, or are you okay? So
I
how
am.
does all that work with the work that you're doing in Iran and here?
Yeah.
Are you able to go back and forth, or will you be able to go back and forth?
Well, with this regime, I can go back, but I don't know. I can't come out. That's the problem. But by the grace of God, when it opens up, we will go back and forth, and um, we're going to be establishing Iranian Christians International inside Iran. Will have an office by the grace of God and continue the work stronger than ever.
All right. Well, God bless you and God bless the work that you're doing to bring people to Jesus Christ. And I'm grateful that you took the time to talk with me here. I think that opened up the eyes of a lot of folks. All right. Thank you so much, everyone, for watching Tammy's Take here on Divine Family Entertainment. Tammy's Take is a crossroads of politics and power. This is my take. The things you heard me say are my take. The things you heard Mohamad say are his take. But I hope that you'll take it all to heart. You can take it or leave it, but I hope you can take it all to heart. Thanks for watching. God bless you, and we'll see you next time.